Japan was never given easy terrain. It sits across restless tectonic plates, in the path of powerful typhoons, surrounded by deep water, and covered by steep mountains. Flat land is limited. Earthquakes are expected. Floods can arrive with almost no warning. And yet, Japan did not respond by building less. It responded by building differently. A highway that dives beneath the ocean. A train designed to float above its guideway. An airport constructed on an island engineers already knew would sink. And beneath an ordinary city, an underground cathedral waiting to swallow a flood. These projects are not simply monuments to technology. They reveal a national habit of thinking. Observe the danger, accept that nature will move, and design a system capable of moving with it. Here are 10 Japanese engineering megaprojects built for places where ordinary construction was never going to be enough. Number 10. The Tokyo Bay Aqua-Line. A highway that seems to vanish into the sea. The route stretches more than 9 miles between Kisarazu and Kawasaki. From the Kisarazu side, drivers begin on a bridge crossing open water. After roughly 3 miles, they arrive at Umi Hotaru, an artificial island that functions as a huge rest stop in the middle of the bay. Then the road disappears. Traffic enters a tunnel that continues for nearly 6 miles beneath Tokyo Bay. The design solves several problems at once. The bridge gives drivers an efficient route across the water, while the tunnel preserves space for ships moving through one of Japan's busiest maritime corridors. It also reduces obstacles near the airspace surrounding Haneda Airport. What makes Aqua-Line impressive is not only the scale of the tunnel, it is the willingness to change the form of the road halfway across the bay. Good infrastructure does not always force the landscape to obey. Sometimes it rises above the problem, and sometimes, at exactly the right moment, it disappears beneath it. Number 9. FANUC's automated factories, where machines help manufacture other machines. Near Mount Fuji, yellow industrial robots move components, assemble equipment, transport materials, and inspect production with extraordinary consistency. People are still essential. Engineers supervise the system, maintain the equipment, and handle tasks that require human judgment or flexibility. But many repetitive processes have been automated to a degree that feels almost unreal. In some areas, machines can continue working through the night and across weekends with very little direct intervention. They do not become tired. They do not lose focus. They repeat the same movement with relentless precision. The result is a factory that behaves less like a traditional workplace and more like a synchronized mechanical organism. It is mesmerizing because every motion appears purposeful. It is unsettling because the system seems capable of continuing, even when almost no one is watching. FANUC represents the promise of industrial automation, higher consistency, greater output, and fewer interruptions. But it also raises a question that every manufacturing economy will eventually face. In the factory of the future, will human beings remain the operators of the system or become observers standing outside it? Number 8. The Chuo Shinkansen, Japan's attempt to make a train fly without leaving the ground. The project uses superconducting magnetic levitation. At high speed, the train rises roughly 4 inches above its guideway, removing most of the friction created by wheels touching rails. The first section between Tokyo and Nagoya is still under construction and is not yet in commercial service. Much of the route is planned to pass through deep tunnels beneath mountains and densely populated areas. If completed as designed, trains are intended to operate at around 310 miles per hour. During a crude test, an experimental train reached 375 miles per hour, a world record. The speed is astonishing, but the deeper story is the route itself. Japan is not placing the train on an easy, empty plain. It is tunneling through difficult terrain to create an almost perfectly controlled corridor. That decision transforms time into an engineering target. Every curve, tunnel, and magnetic coil exists to shorten the distance between two cities, not in miles, but in minutes. The Chuo Shinkansen asks a fascinating question. How much rock, energy, and investment are we willing to move simply to buy back a little more time? Number 7. Kurobe Dam, a masterpiece that cannot be separated from the people who paid for it. Hidden deep in the Japanese Alps, the dam rises 610 feet above the valley floor. Before workers could build the wall, they first had to create access through an almost unreachable mountain gorge. They tunneled through unstable rock, worked in freezing conditions, and fought underground water that repeatedly entered the construction area. The project gave Japan electricity it urgently needed, but the human cost was devastating. 171 workers lost their lives. That number changes the way the structure should be seen. From a distance, Kurobe is spectacular, a massive curve of concrete holding back an immense body of water. But the closer we look, the harder it becomes to call it a simple triumph. Engineering history often celebrates the finished object and forgets the conditions under which people built it. Kurobe refuses to let us do that. When water pours from the dam today, we are looking at two forms of power at the same time: the power captured by engineering and the price once accepted in the name of progress. Number 6. The Seikan Tunnel, a railway passage carved beneath the Tsugaru Strait. At its lowest point, the tunnel sits roughly 790 feet below sea level and about 330 feet beneath the seabed. The project was not completed by simply placing one enormous machine underground and drilling in a straight line. Engineers created exploratory passages, drilled and blasted rock, installed drainage, and repeatedly injected grout into fractures to stop seawater from forcing its way inside. The work continued for roughly 24 years. More than once, water burst through the surrounding rock and transformed the site into an emergency. The tunnel had to be discovered as it was being built. Every section revealed new geology, new pressure, and new uncertainty. Today, passengers cross beneath the strait in controlled comfort. The lights remain steady, the carriage feels ordinary. That ordinary experience is the final achievement. Outside the train are hundreds of feet of rock, seawater, and one of Japan's harshest maritime environments. Inside, a passenger can sit quietly and almost forget that an ocean is passing overhead. Number 5. Tokyo Skytree, where modern engineering studies an idea from the past. The tower rises 2,080 feet above one of the most earthquake-prone metropolitan regions on Earth. Height alone is not the most interesting challenge. The real problem is movement. A structure this tall must respond to wind and earthquakes without allowing that movement to become destructive. Engineers developed a system inspired by the Shinbashira, the central pillar associated with traditional 5-story Japanese pagodas. Inside Skytree is a massive reinforced concrete core that can move somewhat independently from the surrounding steel structure. During an earthquake, the core and outer frame respond differently. Oil dampers connecting them absorb and dissipate part of the energy, reducing the tower's movement. What makes Skytree remarkable is not that Japan ignored tradition and replaced it with technology. It did the opposite. Engineers examined structures that had survived centuries of earthquakes and asked what principle might be hidden inside them. Innovation does not always begin with a blank page. Sometimes it begins by looking backward carefully enough to understand what earlier builders already knew. Number 4. The Akashi Kaikyo Bridge, a project whose blueprint had to change because the ground changed first. In 1995, while the bridge was still under construction, the Kobe earthquake struck near the Akashi Strait. The two enormous towers were already standing. During the earthquake, the ground beneath their foundations moved, increasing the distance between the towers by almost 3 feet. Inspections showed that the foundations had moved with the supporting ground rather than sliding across it, and the overall structural impact was considered manageable. But the geometry of the bridge no longer matched the original drawings. The span had become longer before it had even been completed. Engineers recalculated the structure and adjusted bridge sections that had not yet been manufactured. The bridge opened in 1998 with a central span of nearly 1¼ miles, the longest in the world at the time. The lesson is bigger than the bridge itself. Engineering is not the art of believing that reality will follow the plan. It is the discipline of measuring what changed, understanding why it changed, and creating a new plan without losing control of the project. Number 3. The Tokaido Shinkansen. One fast train is an impressive machine. Hundreds of fast trains operating every day, sometimes separated by only minutes, while remaining safe and remarkably punctual. That is a complete operating culture. Since opening in 1964, the Tokaido Shinkansen has recorded no onboard passenger fatalities or injuries caused by train operation accidents. In fiscal year 2023, the average delay was roughly 1.6 minutes per train, including disruption caused by natural disasters. That performance does not come from speed alone. It depends on track design, signaling, centralized control, preventive maintenance, and thousands of workers following exact procedures. At stations, employees use pointing and calling checks to physically confirm signals and actions. Maintenance teams inspect components before small problems become large ones. The system treats precision as a daily behavior, not a slogan. Technology can create a train capable of moving at high speed, but technology alone cannot make an entire railway reliable for decades. Speed made the Shinkansen famous. The culture surrounding the machine, discipline, repetition, and constant verification is what made it legendary. Number 2. Kansai International Airport. An airport that survives by accepting that its island will move. When the Osaka region lacked suitable space for a major airport, Japan created land in the middle of the sea. Millions of cubic yards of rock and soil formed an artificial island in deep water. But beneath it were thick layers of soft marine clay, and engineers knew those layers would compress. They could not stop the entire island from settling. So, instead of pretending the ground would remain fixed, they designed the terminal to be adjustable. Settlement at 900 columns beneath Terminal 1 is tracked by an automatic monitoring system. When uneven settlement creates a slight tilt, engineers can place hydraulic jacks beneath selected columns, lift them, and insert steel plates to restore the correct elevation. Kansai is remarkable because its designers did not define success as perfect stillness. They defined success as the ability to measure change and respond before that change became dangerous. This is a different relationship with nature. The island is not defeated. The ground is not forced to stop moving. The airport survives because the building expects movement, records it, and adjusts. Kansai remains operational not by staying perfectly still, but by being designed to adapt. And number 1. GCANS, the common name for Japan's Metropolitan Area Outer Underground Discharge Channel. Beneath Kasukabe in Saitama Prefecture is a space that looks like the temple of a vanished civilization. Rows of enormous concrete pillars disappear into darkness. The scale feels ceremonial. But this is not a place of worship. It is a machine built to move a flood. Low-lying communities around the greater Tokyo region are vulnerable when smaller rivers rise quickly during heavy rain. GCANS intercepts that water before it overwhelms the surface. Floodwater is diverted into 5 vertical shafts descending deep underground. From there, it travels through a tunnel more than 4 miles long. At the end is the enormous pressure-adjusting tank, supported by 59 concrete pillars. The chamber controls the force of the incoming flow before the water reaches the pumping station. 4 gas turbines derived from aircraft engine technology power huge pumps capable of moving up to approximately 7,000 cubic feet of water every second into the Edo River. Above ground, people continue driving, working, and sleeping. Below them, a concrete and steel giant waits in silence for the next storm. GCANS is powerful, but its purpose is not to eliminate weather. It cannot make typhoons disappear or guarantee that every neighborhood will always be safe. Its purpose is to create capacity, more space for water, more time for communities, and a lower chance that a dangerous storm becomes a catastrophe. That may be the real meaning of resilient engineering. Not claiming control over nature, but building enough room to survive its next move. After seeing these projects, Japan's engineering story does not look like a story about defeating nature. Nature is not an opponent that can be beaten once and forgotten. Earthquakes return. Typhoons change direction. Rivers rise. Ground settles. The more important achievement is the ability to observe those forces, prepare for them, and change a design before the danger becomes irreversible. The Aqua-Line knows when to rise above the sea and when to disappear beneath it. Skytree is allowed to move, so that movement does not destroy it. Kansai Airport was built with the knowledge that the island would sink. The Akashi Kaikyo Bridge survived because engineers changed the plan after the earthquake changed the ground. And G-CANS protects a city through a machine that most residents will never see. These projects remind us that resilience is not rigidity. A structure does not become strong by pretending nothing will change. It becomes strong by expecting change, measuring it, and responding. If you had to build a city in a place threatened by earthquakes, typhoons, and floods, which system would you build first? Tell us in the comments. And subscribe to Impossible Earth, because the most unforgiving places on this planet often produce its most extraordinary ideas.